This is the TikTok Plush Octopus. You flip him inside out to show the different emotions. So here he is, angry or sad, and here he is, happy. This is taking over TikTok by storm right now, and on this sewing tutorial I'm going to show you exactly how to make him step by step. Just grab the pattern from the description below and let's get sewing. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to print off the pattern, and you can find the link in the description below. Once you've got the pattern, you're going to print out 2 of these. This needs to be cut twice, so that's why you need 2 of them. There's a 1 centimetre seam allowance included, as is written on the pattern, and that's what these dotted lines are. So you can imagine that line's going to go all the way around for your seam allowance. Same on this one. There's an arrow on the pattern as well, and that is for the fur direction. If you're using a plush fabric or a fur, you want to make sure that the fur is going down, because this is the top of the head, so you want to make sure that's right. So you're going to cut out your patterns, and once you've cut out 2, you're going to tape the 2 pieces together to make your main legs. Then once you've cut out your pattern, you're going to want to cut out 2 of the legs in the 2 contrasting colours, 4 of the body pieces in each colour, again making sure the pile is going the right way, a little piece of black felt for the mouth and the eyebrows, and some stuffing as well, of course, too. So we're going to start with the body, and we're going to stitch together these 4 pieces along these edges. Now, plush fabric can be super slippy, so if you want to hand sew it, that's totally fine too. I like machine sewing for speed. I put my pins in at a 90-degree angle, and don't worry if you're a bit worried about sewing over the pins. It's going to be fine as long as you're not going mega fast. Your machine will go slowly over those pins. So we're going to stitch that line, and then we're going to carry on going around, attaching the 4 pieces together so that we've got the main body. I also find when you're sewing this plush, it's really good to use a walking foot. It's just going to make it a lot easier when you're sewing over that pile. So now we've done that, we're going to do exactly the same with the other side. Now we've done that, we're just going to put those to one side, and we're going to move along to the legs. Now you want to place them right sides together, and we're going to pin and sew that 1 centimetre seam allowance all the way round, just the outside, not the middle. Okay, so we've stitched all the way around the outside, then we need to cut it back to just a few millimetres, or about 1/16 of an inch from the edge. Then we need to stitch the body to the legs. Now we need to do the yellow to the yellow, and then the grey to the grey. So you want to make sure that you don't catch the other colour. But first of all, we also need to mark some notches onto these legs. So you want to take your pattern from before, obviously yours will be a full pattern. You want to fold it in half and find that middle point. Just make a little mark on that. Then you want to place it onto your legs, and then you want to mark that halfway point and these 2 points here, and the opposite side as well, and on the other side too. Then we're going to match up our seam lines from the body with those notches that we've just drawn. We're going to pin all around, and then we're going to stitch that yellow completely to the legs. So now we need to stitch the grey side. So we want to make sure that it's right sides together, matching up those notches again, and we're repeating it, but with one key difference. you want to leave an opening because that is going to be our turning hole. So between two of your notches, you want to leave that gap for turning. Then we're going to turn it all out through that hole. Pop out the little legs. So then we need to mark our face. Now I like to do it on the opposite side to the hole, just because then once you've done your stitches, if they do happen to show, it's not going to be quite as obvious. So I'm going to just make two little holes and pop the eyes through and then repeat on the other side. So now I've got my eyes on the two sides of the octopus, and now need to add in the smiles and the eyebrows. And that's what we've got this little bit of black felt for. So I'm just going to cut it into kind of 3 sections. So we want to make literally a straight piece for the eyebrows. And you can do them to adjust to your eyes according to what size you want. You might want bigger eyebrows or you might want smaller ones. You could also hand stitch on with some embroidery thread. The smile, that would be especially better if you're giving this to a smaller child, but I'm just going to glue mine on. Once you're happy with the shape that you've got, you can then use that as a template for the other one. So then once we've placed on the faces, you want to leave that to dry, and then we want to stuff our octopus. So you're only going to stuff one side. So for me, I've stuffed the grey side, the angry side, and I've stuffed each of the legs. Once you're happy with that, just pop the other side inside that first so that you can make sure that it's nice and fluffed up how you want it. And then we're going to sew closed the opening along that back. So I'm using a double thread, and I'm just using a baseball stitch, what I like to call a baseball stitch. So you want to go in one side with a running stitch, and then you want to go in the other side with a running stitch, and then pull it shut. And that will pull it really nicely closed so that you won't see the stitches or the seam line. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up on your screen right now are some other great tutorials that I think you're going to love. I'll see you on the next video.